Hey y'all, welcome to this week's show. Today we're going to talk, probably about a couple of herbs, but we'll start with one that I use daily. It really is one of my essential herbs, and it's a common culinary herb. We're working through the section of my book, Growing Your Survival Herb Garden for Preppers, Homesteaders, Permaculture people, and everybody else, and we're in the culinary herbs chapter that also have medicinal uses. Thyme is a fantastic herb. I consider it probably one of the three herbs I use most in the kitchen for cooking, along with parsley, absolutely, and garlic, if you want to consider garlic an herb. Onions, So, I'm going to put it in a top 4, top 5 category. I love thyme. That is like thyme and parsley. That is like my go-to, seriously. But before I get into that, let me just give you a quick, not so subtle reminder. My books and my wood crafts and baskets make fantastic Christmas gifts. And as I always say, I'd love to be under your Christmas tree this year. If you're looking for something very unique, handmade, or if you know somebody you'd like to give an herb book or a cookbook or a religious book. I've written about a dozen books now, and there's good variety. And another option that I haven't really discussed yet is paid subscriptions to my newsletter, Judson Carroll, or the Southern Appalachian Herbs newsletter at Substack.com. It's free. The links are always in the show notes, But if you want to subscribe, that's optional. When someone subscribes to my newsletter as a paid subscriber, I send them free ebooks. If they subscribe for 1 month, it's only $8, and I send them a book that normally retails for $9.99. It's in PDF form. I just email it to them. If they subscribe for multiple months, they get multiple books. So if you want to support my work and give someone a real nice gift, for as little as $8, you can give them both a subscription to my newsletter and I'll send them an ebook. I think it's a really good deal. If you're like last minute shopping and you don't want to pay shipping on something or money's tight, it is for a lot of people in Biden's economy, most of us. Wish it were for all of us, and maybe, we'd get some better legislation coming out of D.C. if it actually hurt them. They spend all their time spending our money. Mitt Romney right now, how many billions more does he want to send to Ukraine? And, my sympathies are certainly with Ukraine. Yeah, y'all know that if you've listened to me, but I'm not sure why we're throwing billions of dollars into oligarchs' pockets and blatant theft. I don't think he's sent a single dollar of his money, at least if he has. Last I heard, he was worth almost $500 million. Why doesn't he take $100 million out of one of his accounts and send it over there if he cares so much? No, he'd rather spend our money, and then we're supposed to thank him for it. I hope they kick his butt out of Senate as quickly as possible, and the people of Utah, who generally have, fairly common sense, tar and feather his behind. Seriously. A man couldn't stand with Trump, and he doesn't stand with us. Yes, I am a Trump supporter. If that offends you, I'm not even sorry, because if you're offended by that, you're probably one of the people that gave us Biden that put us in this situation. And really, you deserve all you get. You're the ones that really deserve to experience the Biden economy. The rest of us, hardworking people who, have enough sense not to vote for a senile, desiccated moron who's thoroughly corrupt, who's spent his entire life grifting off of us and stealing from us and stealing from other countries, peddling the power of his office for profit, and turning out, a drug addict reprobate son that seems to be, a chip off the old block. You deserve it. So, not even sorry. Not even sorry if you're offended. I could really... I'm biting my tongue here. I don't use profanity on my podcast, but if you voted for Biden, you deserve some profanity. You really do. So, economy's bad. You got to send a gift to somebody. You got to give somebody a gift. How about a subscription to my Southern Appalachian Herbs newsletter? $8. That's it. No shipping. The person gets a 1-month subscription, and I send them a free ebook. You want to do a little more than that? Give them a year subscription. Give them a 3-month subscription. Whatever. It's going to be probably about the easiest, cheapest thing you can give somebody this year. And like I said, my physical books are all available from Amazon. The hard copy paperbacks, very much appreciated when you buy them. And my spoons and baskets, JudsonCarrollWoodcraft.substack.com. Also, I run that through Substack. Substack's great. I wish Substack had been around years ago. I'd have gotten, I'd probably be a much more well-known author, let's just put it that way, and actually making a much better income because it does take a while to get established with certain things, So let's get into the herb. Thyme. Thyme, it's a savory herb. It's not, minty or sweet. It absolutely pairs wonderfully, as I said, with onions, with garlic, chicken broth. I will put thyme on any roasted meat, in any gravy, in any stuffing. It just is a fantastic flavor enhancer, But medicinally, it's fantastic. I mentioned before, for almost 5 years old, I developed a severe form of hereditary asthma. It's both inflammatory and I get the congestion with it. I don't really have spasmodic asthma. What I have is my bronchioles just kind of try to swell shut on me. So, 4 years old, my mom's rushing me to the emergency room because I almost died. And that happened over and over throughout my childhood. And the doctors, I'm a big, robust guy, but I have a hereditary lung condition. It's bronchoasthma. And the doctors put me on medication that... they actually pulled a lot of it from the market because people were making methamphetamine out of it. So you can imagine as a kid, especially as a teenager, this stuff really had an effect on me. It made me jittery. It made me a little volatile personality-wise and depressed. And even though it kept my lungs open, it actually made me short-winded. So being 6'4", during the Jordan era, we had to play basketball all the time. Basically, that's all we did in school. And we probably spent 3 hours a day playing basketball because the teachers, it's North Carolina, they were obsessed with Michael Jordan and basketball, college basketball, and then professional basketball. And everyone that was over, 6 feet tall was supposed to be the next great basketball player. Well, I was short-winded and running up and down the court until, I was about to pass out. I was almost incapacitated, essentially because of the medication, and had this it felt like I was wearing a big fishbowl over my head. I was so disconnected from everything around me, and it was really bad. Emotionally it wasn't good. It made me kind of depressed. You hit that, teenage years and all the hormones start going. That's not a good combination at all. But it kept me breathing. And about, I'm going to say age 19, 20, I had a minor heart attack because of prescription asthma medication. And after that, I had no choice but to learn to use herbs for my asthma. And fortunately, I began training in herbal medicine at the age of 15. But when you have that many near-death experiences of waking up in the middle of the night, realizing you're not breathing and you're almost dead, you grab the inhaler and you're shaking all over, and it's you get a little dependent on those pharmaceuticals. Well, I haven't taken those pharmaceuticals since that time, since that cardiac event around 20, 21 years old. So I've learned many herbs that I can use for asthma. I'm on the best lobelia. I've told you those stories before. If you haven't heard it, look up my old podcast. Lobelia is fantastic. I did a whole podcast, Herbs for Lungs, so I'm not going to get into a lot of them. Learn to use tobacco as a bronchodilator. No, tobacco is not probably a healthy thing to use. Yes, it can cause cancer, but it's better than taking prescription meds that can be turned into methamphetamine and will give you a heart attack, at least in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I'm not recommending anything for anyone. But one herb that I take daily, and as you can tell, I'm not short-winded at all. I can talk and talk and talk, is thyme. Thyme, the simple culinary herb, is a phenomenal expectorant. So, I have my morning bitters formula. I use the Swedish bitters. I just add about an ounce of thyme to that. So, I've been just, in the morning I get up, I take a shot of Swedish bitters with thyme. I also add a little mullein to it. Let me see if there's anything else I add to it that's not in the original formula. I'm thinking just thyme and mullein. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, every now and then I will add a little something else. Like if it's cold and flu season, I may up the, well, it's got wormwood in it. I may add some mugwort. I may add some sweet Annie. St. John's wort is antiviral. I've added that to the mix before. But basically, thyme is, the go-to because it's an excellent expectorant. It also has antibiotic, antiviral properties. And again, it's something I use all the time in cooking. Those savory flavors of like meat and mushrooms when they're browned up. Nothing enhances that flavor better than that combination of thyme and parsley. And in a broth, thyme and parsley with onion and bay leaf, and even a little clove, a couple of cloves. Fantastic. It just comes together so well. It will, actually, if you've never had it, the next time you're boiling up some chicken bones, which you should do, you should always make a broth or a stock out of your chicken bones, or any kind of bones, really. I mean, deer. Venison makes well, just technically deer, isn't it? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. It makes a fantastic stock, but beef stock is the best. And I mean, I make pork stock and bake my beans with it, and put it in with different stews. Anything. Quail. Oh man, does quail make a great stock? Duck bones. Wow. I mean, if you're a hunter or a fisherman, because you make fantastic stocks out of fish bones and heads and tails as well. Shrimp shells. I could go on. That's all in my book, The Omnivore's Guide to Home Cooking. And those stocks are really like the foundational basis of like most things I cook that aren't a dessert. They go into gravies, they go into soups, they go into sauces, they go a glaze over meat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the next time you have some chicken bones, or it's November now, so maybe you can have some turkey bones soon. Take that carcass, whatever. I like to roast it and brown it first, then put it in a pot with water. That will give you a whole lot more flavor. And into that pot, all your vegetable scraps, which you should actually roast and brown as well, along with the carcass, whether it's a tomato peel or the butt end of an onion. Yeah, just brown them up in the oven, toss them in there, as long as they're not rotten, Anything. Pumpkin peels. I mean, seriously, the skin off a pumpkin. Wonderful in a stock. But anyway, brown that up, throw it in a pot in cold water, and bring it up to a simmer. You can let it simmer for at least an hour, and like 3 is better, And put in there some peppercorns, maybe 2-3 whole cloves. They're not going to add any kind of like sweet flavor. They just enhance the flavor. Really very good. You can take those cloves and actually, what you do is you take your onion and peel it and put some slices in it and stick bay leaves in those slices, and then use the clove as like little tacks to hold the bay leaf in the onion. It just makes it easier to pull it out. But, obviously you can just throw everything in there and fish it out later, which I often do. So onion, garlic, clove, bay leaf, a goodly amount of thyme. I mean, like, at least a tablespoon, and I'd probably go 2, and ditto on the parsley. And don't salt it. You don't salt it yet. I know you're going to be tempted to salt it, but because you're going to use this in a variety of dishes, you don't want it to add salt to those dishes. And just simmer it until all the cartilage is melted off the bones. This is bone broth, as everybody calls it these days. It's actually stock. The smell is phenomenal. Add a little wine to it, and it's even better. So some white wine, some sherry, whatever you got. A